The Hulkster, baby.
Yeah, and they did most of your Hulk Hogan matches on house shows. I don't remember seeing a recorded version when you were One Man Gang. What was it like working with Hulk Hogan? Because he was still at his peak in that point of popularity.
As soon as his music would hit, he didn't even have to be out there. Just the music itself, and the whole building would explode. Yeah, but man, like I said, he was over so big, man. It was just unbelievable that a company could get somebody that strong, and I couldn't imagine, just the pressure of having all that on your shoulders, carrying a company like that. I mean, I know there's perks, money wise and, different things, but just the pressure of carrying a whole company on your shoulders, I went in there and, talked to him just for a few minutes, shook his hands, and he thanked me profusely, about our matches. He said, those are some of the easiest matches I've ever had, working guys, and he said, I appreciate you taking care of me and, really protecting my body. And every night, it was pretty obvious that except for a couple of count outs, or he got counted out one time or whatever, but pretty much every night you knew you was going to take the Hulk Hogan guillotine leg drop. So, but he would come and find me wherever I was every night we worked, and he would come over and ask me, is it okay, if I, this is the finish. Do you have any problems with it? You mind if I, go over on you tonight, that way? And like I was going to say, oh no, Hogan, you're not going over on the One Man Gang. You got to take it yourself, buddy. So, but yeah, to me, he was, I've heard other people talk totally different things about him, but with me personally, that's the way it was every night. He was like real courteous, real generous in the match, and once we got a set match, it pretty much, a good 15-minute set match, it pretty much stayed that way all the way around the circuit. You didn't really have to do too much. Like I said, it's same with the Von Erichs. I mean, the fight wasn't nothing like that, but I mean, match-wise, you really didn't have to do anything. You just look at the man and the crowd would explode. You're talking, 22,000, 30,000, whatever, the crowd would just explode. So, yeah, it was like a night off every night working with that man.
So would it be once you got the routine down, he would just come up to you and say, is the finish okay? And you wouldn't even have to talk about the match. You would just.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I heard you had the Montreal attendance record. I don't know if it still stands, but for the Forum.
How do you get this information? I mean, yeah, him and I had the attendance record at the Montreal Forum, and like you say, I don't know now, but yeah, we did have it at one time. So there's another little thing I can put on my resume.
So as far as your pay for those matches, do you remember what your highest pay would be for wrestling Hogan on a house show?
No, the pay was a set pay, Hannibal. It don't matter where I wrestled. It didn't matter if it was, 20,000 or 50,000. My pay every time him and I worked was $5,000. I'm not saying that's bad. Don't get me wrong now. That's tremendous. I don't, but that was my set pay. I believe it never went over that, it never went under that. So anytime I was booked with Hogan anywhere in the world, in the country or whatever arena, it was $5,000. So, I mean, you figure if we're doing, you do 10 nights at $5,000, that adds up. You do 20 nights, 30 nights. I mean, I'm sure Hogan wasn't making that. I'm sure he was way over that, but he deserved it. I mean, he's the one he's the one that's over and drawing the crowd. I just happen to be the recipient of the big leg drop every night. I just happen to be in the right spot for that. So, no, I went and thanked you. I went right to him and thanked him, for that. And I went and thanked Mr. McMahon for paying me. I'm very appreciative, but I don't have any problem. Who the heck don't want to go out there and wrestle 15 minutes at the most and get paid $5,000? Are you kidding me? I mean, I've had regular shoot jobs, or I've had to work at the penitentiary for 12 hours at a time, and making, $13 an hour. Here I am. I go out in the ring and wrestle 15 minutes and get paid $5,000. Holy cow.